Hey, welcome back to Band Chat. We are so glad you guys are here. If you're new to our channel, thank you so much for being here. And if you're returning, we really appreciate the support. Don't forget to like and share. My name is Bonnie. I'm the lead singer for Innocence Torn, and this is my co-host.
Hi, I'm Mariah Dan. I am with the Innocence Torn crew.
And tonight we are with Three Man Cult. And so if for everyone out there, if you could just introduce yourself and what you do in the band.
Tonight it's just me. Drummers out of town, bass players out of town. We're in the process of working on a new guitar player, so unfortunately you get me tonight. My name's Kevin. I formed the band. I'm the front man, acoustic songwriter. I do the songwriting, and try and dabble in the whole multi-instrumentalist thing, but I like live music a lot better, and I came from a live music background, so I'm working at getting back into that, that kind of a world.
I get it. I absolutely get it. So, wow, you have a really interesting story about how you guys wound up getting together, and I thought it would make, because we've talked before about how and what it is to get a band together and what that looks like and all the work that gets put into it, but you guys kind of have, I'll just let you tell the story because it's pretty impressive.
You're talking about, I guess, the whole background story for us as a band. What happened was, and I'll keep it relatively short because it's a long story. It's a good whiskey and cigar story. Trust me, it's a really good whiskey and cigar story. Years ago, we became, as a family, somewhat frustrated with the lack of progress, our spiritual progress in the Christian church. And we began to actually really kind of seek for a bit more of what they would call the meat of the whole situation. And we found that we had a really hard time getting that. And all these Bible-based churches, you would come up with all these things that I colloquially began to call road bumps that everybody wouldn't want to deal with. And my son's a very, very spiritual person, my wife as well. And so, their sensitivity, they were getting kind of frustrated. And we happened upon the Messianic Jewish movement. I don't know if you know anything about Messianic Judaism. Yeah. That's the first misnomer right away that gives you a clue. This is probably not going to end up very well. So long story short, we joined. It was nice because it gave us it had the meat. It was everything that we were kind of looking for. And then it just kind of began to progress, and it began to get a bit more, everything became a bit more controlled and rigid and kind of one-sided, and it was kind of ended up with kind of a my way or the highway sort of a thing. And at that point we kind of pulled the plug on it. By the time we got out, it was functionally a cult. Okay, that's basically what had happened. It was functionally a cult. I led the praise team. I was actually number 2 in the whole organization because we took everything to heart. And I still say to this day, I don't think it started that way. I don't think a lot of cults start that way. I think they start with some relatively genuine people wanting to make some genuine change or try and do something to help people. Probably, I hope, I don't know. But I think that's the way this one started. But it went off the rails. And the reason it went off the rails because there was no accountability. There was no guide. There was no, upper level organization to be answered to. So it was the main guy's decision, and whatever he said kind of ended up going. We got out of that, but I was running the praise team as well, and we had everything. I mean, we had the lights and it was very cool. It was cool music. Everything was very cool about it. When I got out, the drum player and the bass player, they got out at the same time. A couple of years later, we ended up kind of reuniting, just having some drinks, coming over, and we began playing. And we wanted to play. We loved playing together. We didn't want to play what we had been playing. There was no relevance to that really in our lives anymore. We simply could not agree upon covers, no matter what. It was the biggest disaster ever. And we realized, we're like, okay, the only way this is going anywhere is if we start writing our own music. So I came from the ad agency business. I'm still kind of in the marketing realm of things. The bass player was the creative director for an agency out of Fort Worth, Texas, a really good agency out of Fort Worth, Texas. We were both writers. The drum player is just an amazing drum player. He is along for the ride by his own admission. I mean, he's hand me a beer, I'm a happy guy, right? Actually, iced tea. Iced tea is what his favorite is, and he's just, he just loves to be there. He loves to play. He's gigged before. The two of us hadn't. Our only musical experience was these years in the church. So that's it. We didn't have any kind of musical gigging experience, nothing like that to draw upon. So of course we started right where you would typically start if you were 12, 14, 16 as a guy, with all the girls who hurt your feelings and all your frustrations for the world. Right. We still haven't got all that out of our system. We're still working on that,
No, I wrote my whole, we have kind of a standard joke that our first entire EP was just a breakup song.
Absolutely. I mean, you got to start somewhere, and it's you can't beat the classics. It's always great fodder. So anyway, so we started playing, we started writing songs. Things were going fine, it was just us. We were having a good time. We didn't think anything about it. There wasn't anything to think about it. We started talking, maybe we'll go to an open mic or something like that. So we have we play out in the driveway one day, and we invite all the neighbors because they're so kind. We tried to always cut off by like 10 or 10:30, but we were in a decent neighborhood, so we tried to be respectful of everybody. And this had gone on for a year and a half. So we invited them all over one night and said, hey, we're going to play for you. It's great. Now, Kevin had an ulterior motive. I wanted to track the songs that we had been working on. So I got a professional guitar player to come. I had a guy show up to multi-track record the whole thing. I was just like betting that at least we'll have something, right? Because all we had was our crappy little Zoom recorder, that kind of stuff, literally in the garage.
There's nothing wrong with the Zoom.
It works great once you know what you're doing with it. It helps, that always helps. So
thank God for YouTube.
Yeah, right. In every way, shape, or form. Yeah, I got a YouTube channel on how to like guitar pedals and stuff. Same thing. It's like someone needs to do something to help the world.
Send the link. I'll put it in the
I'll send you the link.
Yeah.
So we went out and played, and it was, absolutely horrible. It was, it was horrendous. It was nothing like, you always have these visions going in, when you're first getting started and you haven't practiced and played that much. But everybody came up to us afterwards and were like, that was amazing. Now, you expect that to a degree. Just people being nice, right? They're your neighbors, but they all did. And they all loved the songs. Now, an interesting thing happened. The guitar player, the professional guitar player, was not interested. He didn't have any interest in the song. Now, this was a confusing point for me for a few years till I figured out what happened. And the guy doing the multi-track recording literally messed up and had to reinstall his DAW on the fly in the garage when we were supposed to be setting. So he managed to get some stuff recorded, but it was kind of like Stevie Ray Vaughan's first album. The only thing that survived was the mix down, the 2-channel backup mix down. That's the only thing that survived. So that's what we ended up with. At least we had something. But so that's how it all started. Now, about 6 months after that, my wife and I decided to move. We wanted to be up further, closer to our kids and our grandkids, having grandkids by then. So we're like, you know what? We want to be closer to them. So that broke the band up, and I decided, you know what? I'm just going to do some collaboration online. Right, do that, and that was great, and I was having fun. And in fact, the kid who's playing, I say kid, I don't mean that disrespectfully, who's playing the lead guitar on most of the tracks that you may have listened to, he's from Indonesia. He's on Fiverr. I mean, but he was awesome. He was incredible. And I was like, well, I mean, I wouldn't tour or anything. It's not like it's a problem, right? And it wasn't a problem until Ken, the drummer, calls me up about 6 months ago, and he says, bro, we're moving. I was like, oh, congratulations. Where are you going? No, we're moving up there. Oh, why? We're ready to start the band again. Like, you and your wife are moving. Yep, house is going for sale. We're coming up there. Sold my company to my kids. They're paying me off. Whoa. We already got the RV. We're heading your way.
Oh, my God.
I mean, it wasn't quite like that, but I was like, oh, shit.
Yeah, right?
Everything just changed now.
I guess we're about to do this damn thing.
I guess we're about to do this, aren't we? Exactly. Bonnie hit the nail on the head. Yeah, I guess we're about to do this. So I've spent that time, and I've got about 5 weeks left trying to basically prime a band and get a band together. Now, we only have about 6 or 8 originals that were totally worked out at this point, another 6 or 8 that are in various stages of completion. Not many, right? Maybe a couple of EPs, 1 album if we're lucky. So that means in order to we're going to play live. That's the goal, is to play live now. So you need now we're back to the thing I hate in the world, and that's covers. So we got to bulk the setup, right? We got to do something. So that's it. That's the shortest version of the story I think I can provide about kind of who we are and where we came from and how we got going. So yeah, 3-man call, a couple of people, is that 3 people at the moment. At the moment, it's back to a 3-piece band because I'm still trying to line up a guitar player who we found there's a difference between a good guitar player and a lead guitarist.
Facts.
Okay, I hadn't made that connection yet, and so that was a new revelation because when we were back in the church, we were playing with a dude who used to tour and record, and he was just phenomenal. So it was just never a problem. I never had to deal with that, and so that's been a real hard part because some of our songs, some of them are engineered for a lot of organic work on the guitar. Right, they're built for it. The solos are very long and extended, and we float in and out with dynamics. Some of them are locked and loaded. There's no lead guitar. There's just backing electric. You've got to think Joe Walsh, right? You've got to play good like this, and you get your wiggles out later. We'll have plenty. We got blues, we got rock. We'll get all the wiggles out. So here's been the real problem. We found good guitar players, but they're not capable of being a lead guitarist. Right. Or we find someone who's very capable of being a lead guitarist. And I say this with all love and appreciation in my heart, but we are not Polyphia. Okay. That's not the kind of music that we're about. So that's what they play all the time. And it never stops. And so those have been, it's like, no, man, go listen to Joe Bonamassa and don't come home for a week. Okay. That's what we're looking for because I don't know a whole lot. I don't have a lot of music theory or anything like that. So I carry a lot of minors through the songs. Pentatonic works well in everything that we do. So a little creativity, a little melodic touch is really kind of all I'm looking for. And I am. So you're going to be surprised how hard it is to find that type of person.
So what area? And I am. What area do you live in?
We live in Southwest Colorado. It's not a very big area, but there's there's a lot of really great musicians who have retired up here.
So, and all my friends out in Colorado, look, if anybody's interested, they're looking for a guitarist. So hit them up. I'll make sure that all their links are in the description.
Yeah, great.
I found that there's, and you know what? I think one of the reasons why is because there's not a lot to do there, and they're like, well, okay, we're just gonna be a musician, I mean, really, yeah. You can hunt, you can fish, but I noticed that the majority of people that I know from there are all musicians, and it's crazy that
everybody's a musician.
We don't get enough musicians, I think, here in the Pacific Northwest from Colorado. I think they have a lot more to offer than what they send our way,
I don't know. We're finding out. We're in process right now. It's like I said, it's funny. It's not hard to find good guitar players. It's hard to find lead guitarists. I don't know. Wow, yeah.
But I can tell that you're in the marketing because your Facebook page is so interestingly cool. Yeah. And then I noticed that you guys, I don't know if it's not a conspiracy theory because everybody knows, but I saw your JFK, part of your JFK video, or at least I don't know the name of it off the top of my head, but
conspiracy. Yeah, that's the name of it's conspiracy.
That was really well written, actually.
Thanks.
Yeah, and I really like your guys' vibe. I think it's unique to the degree that it's fun to listen to.
I hope so.
But it's not like everybody else, and maybe that's just because of your path and how you got to where you are right now, I think.
Yeah, I mean, someone would say, who are your influencers? So it's like, I don't even know how to answer that question. I really don't. I mean, it's kind of weird to put Hendrix in some Christian band and then some, Israeli hip hop band that we might have done, one of their type songs. So yeah, we had a lot of background, but I think a lot of it was also, we do focus a lot on the lyrics. Thanks for picking that up. I'm always appreciative of people, and I'd listened to a couple of your other shows, and one of the guys was saying, "Man, I really appreciate it." Something along the lines, when people listen to your lyrics. I was like, "Amen, thank you." That's really a lot of it because we're all about the vibe and the feel and all of that. Absolutely, we want to bring people into the music. We want them to be engaged, but if they can't tell what we're actually saying, then I mean, nothing against like the screamo, and that that's not my gig. That's all. You know, I just don't. I like to understand and have, and we, you know, we to a fault, we overthink everything. We like overanalyze and overthink everything. But
yeah, it's our ancient time.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I think so.
Well, you know, there is something to be said about writing some really good lyrics, regardless. There's so many. It's so funny because as a musician, being in a band, we have everything about us in different bands are all different from each other, but we all suffer from it. Doesn't matter what genre, how you got there, how you played to get on that stage the first time. We all have the same exact issues. For us and a lot of people here, it's finding the drummer. You know, trying to find the right drummer that isn't either half crazy, on drugs. I mean, not saying that I had that, or full on crazy, or just doesn't have has their own idea of what things are supposed to look like, and or maybe not just. We've had one really great drummer that has moved on in his life, and we really love and appreciate him. But we've had a couple that you're just like, what in the absolute hell has just happened here? Like, how did you not see this one? Woo! Okay, so I mean, luckily enough, I'm pretty sure Colorado has it too. But there is a website called Bandmix. And, it's kind of like a social media. It's sort of like
band mix, like two words, band mix.
Yes. It's basically one word. So on Bandmix, you put it in like your area where you're at, and you tell it what you're looking for, and it's like a classified sort of thing for musicians. So you can like message back and forth and set things up. People on there have, if they have videos or they've already done songs. It's a really nice outlet. It's really helped us out in the past. And it also helps you collaborate with people of your own genre and your own, ways of thinking. It's a great little site. So check that out.
I'll check it. I definitely check it out. I mean, again, you got to understand, this is like for me, effectively, this is becoming at the moment, literally my first band ever. But I've had that's why it was so important when the drummer called and said he's moving. Like that literally changed everything, right? Because if we had to go to war with him and we could do it.
Right.
And I didn't know that until I ran across, hold on. This is a good group. You guys probably know about them. Doggone it, where are they? Forgive me, I'm so sorry. Be My Fire by the Blue Stones. Have you heard the Blue Stones?
I have personally not, no, but I'll go look.
Okay. Highly recommend. They're a jamming little band, two guys. And I mean, I've deconstructed the songs enough to figure out what they're doing and how they sound so big, but they're out touring and everything with two. So my point being, I was like, I felt good enough. It's like, well, if he's willing to go into this, I mean, hell, I'm willing to go into it. I mean, we've got a little bit of time, right? I've got a job now. It's weird because it's flipped. The whole thing's flipped. I didn't have a lot of confidence and stuff in my music when I was a kid, younger. I had some things happen that, kind of knocked me out a little bit of the confidence game. And so, I met a beautiful woman in school, and fell in love, got married, had a job, and I didn't, think that much, more about it, until we started in this cult thing, and they needed some, because they had this is funky. I call it Oompa Loompa music. I asked my son for the first time when we left it, he was at the time, he's probably about 8. And he was very discerning already by this point. I knew we were going to have challenges with him. He's awesome. And he goes, I said, well, what did you think of the music? Because that's always my first question. What do you think of the music? He said, it sounds like the Oompa Loompas met the Godfather. That was his response at 8. I said, okay, that's probably pretty good. So we whacked all that and started from scratch. So I don't know. It's but I'm looking forward to doing this. Like literally went to an open mic tonight because I'm literally out building, like right now, building relationships, right? Going to the open mics, putting the time in, backing the other people up, right? You be there for a while, you sing, and then you're there regular, and then you kind of help back people up. And all of a sudden, the really good guy who was playing a couple of weeks ago comes up to you and says, hey, that was nice. This is a nice set, and he never did that before. So, right, I'm in that we're literally starting this whole thing, from scratch, but as kind of from a weird experience musician perspective.
Yeah. But you know what? Obviously, it's motivated you guys to, enough for the drummer to actually move. I mean, that's pretty rad right there.
Well,
but I mean,
we from Texas from where we were in Central Texas to, I mean, we can literally, one of my songs says, I got a fake fireplace because it's safe for the lease. I got $1 million view, but the peaks are behind the trees, which is the problem. We have beautiful view of the mountain peaks, but the point being, can't see them. The trees are in the way. He would come up here with his wife 3 or 4 times. And they finally just like said, "Oh man, we're tired of being hot in Texas. We're ready to come up here." So there's other benefits, for being up here. But yeah, and anything that would get him up here is cool with me. I don't care. That's great.
You guys sound like you are getting, geared up and ready for that first stage experience. What are you looking forward to the most about that? And are you nervous?
Absolutely. Yeah. I'm always nervous, right? Get the butterflies flying formation or whatever the old adage is. But, that's another reason why I'm starting back at just open mics, me personally, and actually boiling the songs down to just me on an acoustic. What happens? How well do the lyrics stand up? How well does the arrangement stand up? Does it still, work? So my biggest thing is that I'm kind of a perfectionist. So I have a saying that's not appropriate to say
really
here about how tight we need to be as a band before I set foot on the stage again with a band. So it's going to be a nauseating process of literally woodshedding every single song in the set until, like they say, amateurs practice till they get it right. The pros practice till they can't get it wrong. It's going to be ingrained in us before we step on another stage again, because I don't care. There's so much stuff that we realize goes wrong continually or can go wrong.
That's really the fun of it, though, because
it is fun of it, but it's a lot more fun.
That there's no perfect shows. I mean, I've had as close as I'm gonna get, but shit goes wrong all the time.
All the time.
And you kind of learn to embrace that, and you're just like, okay, well, it's really just knowing how to make it look like nothing ever happened, nothing to see here. You know what I mean?
Absolutely right. Couldn't agree with you more. And the more my position is for the band is, and the more familiar we are with the songs as a group, the more likely that's going to happen. Because if something you see my guitar is going wrong. Now the whole thing stops and the whole, everything's kind of the vibe, everything comes kind of crashing down. I'm like, yeah, that stuff can happen. It will happen. Bust strings, all kinds of things are going to happen. Totally familiar with all of that. But again, it's like we got really tight before, and that was just our pleasure. That was our pleasure. I mean, we had at one point we were playing our where we started, just to kind of give you a little bit of that vibe. We were playing the venue, the church where we had church, probably set 200, maybe 250 people.
Nice.
And I think I had a 6,500 watt sound system in there, and we had 4 15-inch subs flown, not on the ground. I mean, we had the whole J arrays. And for 250 people, right? And the reason was because I believe specifically that low frequency vibrations do an enormous amount to the human soul. I believe
that is scientific.
It's scientific. And that's what I want happening. The other thing that I believe is too many people push their sound systems. In my experience, just listening and observing, they push their sound systems way too much for the amount of power that sound system has. Like if you have a 2,000 watt sound system, you shouldn't be running it over about 40-50%. 60 at the max. That's your sweet spot for the system. Well, if you crank that, so I like to overkill dramatically in the system so that the sweet spot of whatever space you're at is really sitting in the sweet spot of the system that you're playing through, because it's important. I mean, bass is extraordinarily important to everything that we're about, everything that we do. I believe that bass is the foundation of the entire thing.
Well, I mean, it's definitely the rhythm line. I mean, it's It,
Yep.
that's for me. I work specifically with my drummer and my bass player on timing. And we kind of form it that way because if not, if I'm listening to the guitars, I will lose myself. I've done it a million times. I really have to have that steady flow of information to my brain, so I know when to come in and at what point I should over accentuate something or scream.
Absolutely.
Just whatever. But
Absolutely.
yeah,
That's where I'm at now. I'm in the scream stage, because I was never a singer before. My whole deal at the whole congregation was I told them I'd take the job, quote unquote, as long as I didn't have to sing. And the lead singer literally quit and left the church the next day. It's like there's some irony for you. So you get to do, hey, but that's okay. The universe puts us in these places, and a lot of times, right? How many times we heard the story? You just don't see it at the time. I mean, I certainly didn't. I didn't see the value after we ended up leaving. It was horrible, hard break, just lose friends, all that kind of crap. You're like, what the hell was the point of that? Where was the good in that? Well, I'm looking back on it now, getting ready to do this whole band thing and being very grateful. I'm finding things to be very grateful about.
Well, I find that like the universe, it like shows you a glimpse of what you really want, and you live it for a minute. And then it changes, shit changes. And if you're on the path you're supposed to be on, that the one that best serves you, then the universe gives it back to you. So that's why I feel like your time that you moved, that was something different. But having your drummer come, it's a really good indication from the universe that you are on the right path for you, and that you really need to put your energy into it, because clearly there's something special going on. You know what I mean? The universe just doesn't, say, okay, well, shit like this just does not happen for a reason. And I'm looking around your room there, and you're clearly surrounding yourself. You're surrounding yourself in your dream. You are surrounding
immersion.
And for me, like if one of these days I'll actually do a podcast out in our studio, which is I'd say pretty badass. Yeah, I mean it's insanely cool. But
mine's not insanely cool, but it's pretty cool.
We surround ourselves in our experience. We surround ourselves in our what do you want to call it? Our success. So exactly. We've got posters that from shows that we've done. We've got all of our lanyards that we ever had. All of our I
love that.
Yeah, I mean we've won 2 awards in our time. We won.
Congratulations! Well done. What were they?
We won the Top Dog competition from Static X Radio. So they had a competition where we beat out some of the biggest bands out there in the world, and then when we had our crown for a little while, and then they redid it and we won it again. So we're the only back-to-back, winner at Top Dog. Yeah. So they actually sent us a T-shirt, and it says I won Top Dog twice, and just so they all know, I'm ready to go back and get another crown here. So, but
third time's a charm, right?
Yeah. So when you go out to our garage, out to the studio, you're really looking at not just the history of what we've accomplished, but then you're also putting yourself in the position to recognize that you have done these things, and this is where you want to be, and that's where the universe winds up putting you.
I have a guy who's been a mentor of mine for a few years, and he has a saying he picked up from some other person that I've really kind of taken to heart this year, actually, and that is what you're talking about a little bit. He says, focus on the gap, or focus on the gain, not the gap. And he's like, okay, explain. And he's like, well, too many times it's too easy for our default position to be what didn't happen, what went wrong, whatever. But he goes, when you focus on the gains, no matter how little, and you make that a habit, that begins to become the self-reinforcing sort of a thing, where you begin expecting more gain instead of expecting more gap, right? More of the problems. You're not
expecting those big booms to come.
And when you surround yourself, I mean, I'm looking forward to doing the same thing. I'm literally picturing it in my mind. I was like, that must be so fucking cool to have all of your shit around and go, yep, we did that. And to know, right? You guys know that We did that, damn it. And no one will ever take that away. That happened. We got the proof. And we're going to do that one next. And it's going to be even cooler. I mean, I love it.
We've been very fortunate to play like at the Whiskey a Go Go. We played at the Ring.
What? That's amazing. Oh
yeah, we played with Winger and Warrant. We've played with.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I mean, the things that we have done, even, and now mind you, we're only 3 years into this, but we hit the ground running, and we knew, we're no spring chickens. So, you live what, 10,450,000 freaking days in your life. That's what you're given by God, right? You get so many days. You've already lived like 7,000 of those or something,
Yeah.
So what are you going to do with the rest of the time? And that's kind of where we're sitting at, where we're like, we're going to do the most we can as long as we can, because I think it's ingrained in our blood. It's something that we personally, it's been a bucket list. Like who does not want to like go do some of the things we've done in a short period of time?
Right.
But we're not done, so you have to keep resetting that goal and
right.
So when you surround yourself, you look at what you're capable of, and it really does motivate you. If you surround yourself in your success, then that's the direction that you're going to go in. So
I'm so looking forward to that to some degree. Like I said, this is for me at least. This is an adventure, that I always wanted to do and didn't get to do. So I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah. And my biggest advice to you is don't look back.
I love that.
When you have way more time behind you for stuff you didn't do than the stuff you have done. And so now moving forward, there is an unlimited amount of time and space. And clearly that's the direction. Something in you is directing you to do this. And I think that it's probably God being like, I'll forgive you for being in a cult.
Yeah. My son, actually, the highly spiritual one, he'll ask me every once in a while, he'll say, Dad, do you believe in God? And I say, every time I say the same thing, I said, I believe in God. I'm just not exactly sure what the hell to believe. That's right. I'm not very
I get it. So we've got a few more minutes, but I wanted you to kind of tell everybody where they can find you on social medias, and where else we can go look you up, especially how someone could contact you if they are interested in giving you or getting in touch.
Yeah, for whatever reason you might be, I suppose. 3-Man Cult on YouTube, on Facebook, Instagram. The number 3-Man Cult spelled out. You can find stuff there. We only had our kind of first kind of quote unquote EP, 5 songs. It was a goal last year. You talk about taking things seriously. Like last year, I kind of decided at one point I was scared I was dying. I was like, we got to make something happen. Shit's got to happen. I'm not going to die and not even try any of this stuff. So that was my goal last year. And like I said, I cobbled it all together. Most of the tracks, all the tracks, I think are the drummer, Ken. We managed to get him up and do stuff like that. You can catch us on Facebook. It's interesting, because for a while I knew what I needed to do to get things moving in social circles and stuff like that, get the algorithms warmed up, all the things that needed to happen, but I didn't have any music. So what the hell are you supposed to do? It's kind of hard to promote a band when you don't have any music, So that's when we decided the first song really needed to be Conspiracy. Which is this quasi-punk throwback sort of homage song to punk.
It's very cool. It's a
fun song. I'm glad you like it. It's a lot of fun. So we stuck that out, and also it's kind of a genre breaker. It's like, well, anywhere we go from here is going to be different. So I really didn't want someone to think we're too much of one kind of a band or anything. Anyway, so you can find that on YouTube. We're going to be basically, this summer is designed to gig. We're going to be working up the rest of our originals, and the main goal is gig all summer, get as tight as we possibly can gigging, and then we're going to go in next fall. I've already found the place here in town to go record, and it's a big single room. We're not going to do ISO booth recording. We've tried that. We don't like that. We play as a band, and we play best as a band. Yeah. So we're going to do one big room recording, and that'll be the first kind of quote unquote album. I guess that's our goal, is to have that done. So that'll be recorded this fall. But we would love to
seeing that.
Yeah, I hope so. Thank you very much for this opportunity, Bonnie. It's
Thank
been
you, Kevin, for
beautiful.
coming. And
Yeah.
all of us at Innocence Torn and our crew and our family, we want to wish you the best of luck out there.
Thanks all to you.
Do not stop until you get on that stage. And I wish I could actually fly over there. I would be there to support, but if I can't be, then I'll be here to support you. So thank you so much. And tell your other bandmates that they lost out on not being with us tonight.
I will tell them. I was actually texting the drummer literally right when we were about 10 minutes before we started, and I was like, are you anywhere you got stable internet connection? He's like, no, I don't.
That's okay. But anyway, I'm going to go ahead and put all of the links to Three Man Cult right there. So I just want to once again thank you for being here.
Thank you, Bonnie. Thank you. And maybe sometime we still need to talk about health, being healthy as a musician. That's a big thing. Maybe we can when we're doing something and got a little bit more to talk about, maybe we can do this again.
I would love that.
It'd be a real honor. Mariah, thank you.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, you bet. You guys have a wonderful evening.
You too. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Okay, class song. Okay. And poof, just like that, she gone. Thank you guys so much for hanging out tonight with us at Three Man Cult. You guys are not going to want to miss next week's show. We have all of the Gambler 500 coming at ya. All the bands playing at Deschutes County Fairground this June. You guys are not going to want to miss this. We will see you next week. Don't forget to like, subscribe, share, comment, and we will see you then. Let's go!